It's easy to think of a baseball as just a ball. Yet behind every pitch in the major leagues lies an astonishing truth. Billions of baseballs are painstakingly crafted in enormous factories, each engineered to withstand a 100-mile-per-hour fastball and pass millimeter-precise tests. If even a single ingredient is off, whether the Midwest cowhide or the secret cork and rubber pill inside, it can sabotage a game and trigger million-dollar controversies. But how do these raw materials transform into the flawless spheres powering the world's biggest games? The answers start deep inside the factory floor. Every baseball begins as a collection of raw materials, each chosen with care and precision. At the heart of the ball sits the pill, a compact sphere of cork blended with rubber, engineered to deliver the perfect combination of bounce and resilience. Even a fraction of an ounce off can mean the difference between a home run and a routine flyout. Around this core, machines wind exactly 121 yards of wool yarn in tightly calibrated layers. The yarn isn't just filler, it's the secret to the ball's spring and shape, and every strand must meet strict standards for thickness and stretch. Next comes the leather. Only full-grain cowhide from the Midwest makes the cut, prized for its durability and uniform grain. Hides arrive at the factory in massive shipments, but not all are destined for the big leagues. Here, a specialist, sometimes called the leather whisperer, inspects each hide, running practiced fingers across the surface, searching for flaws invisible to the untrained eye. Weather, feed, and even the season can change the texture of the leather, so experience is everything. A single blemish or stretch mark can disqualify a hide, sending it to the reject pile. The final touch is the thread. Every ball is stitched with red cotton, waxed for strength and grip. Spools are dyed and prepared in advance, measured for consistency, and set aside for the skilled hands who will bring the ball together. Only when every material meets the highest standard can the process move forward. In this world, there's no room for compromise, because the smallest imperfection can ripple all the way to the pitcher's mound. Inside the factory, the transformation begins with the pill, the small, dense sphere that will become the heart of every baseball. Technicians load a precise mix of cork and rubber into hydraulic presses, where forces reaching thousands of pounds squeeze the blend into a perfect sphere. Each pill must weigh exactly 1 ounce, no more, no less. Even a fraction of a gram off, and the ball will never make it to the next stage. The newly formed pill is first coated in a layer of black rubber, then encased in a thin shell of red rubber. This dual-layer coating locks in resilience and ensures that the core stays perfectly centered as the ball is built up. Operators move quickly, but every pill is checked by hand on high-precision digital scales. If the scale reads even a hair outside the target range, the pill is pulled from the line. A technician runs a fingertip over the surface, checking for any hint of a seam or flat spot. Only the most uniform pills move forward. Any imperfection here will ripple through the rest of the process, throwing off the ball's balance and bounce. Once approved, the pills are lined up on trays, ready for the winding machines. This is the moment the ball's fate is sealed. A stable, flawless nucleus, engineered to anchor every pitch, every hit, and every catch that will follow. Inside the winding room, machines hum in perfect rhythm, each one calibrated to a narrow band of torque and speed. Operators monitor every dial and gauge, adjusting settings to keep tension within strict limits. The goal is simple: build a ball that remembers its shape, no matter how many times it's hit, thrown, or dropped. 4 distinct grades of wool yarn, starting coarse, then growing finer, are layered in a precise sequence, with each pass locking in elasticity and rebound. The winding crew inspects the core as it spins, watching for any sign of uneven layering or slack. Even a single strand out of place can leave a soft spot, threatening the ball's performance months later on the field. As the layers build, the ball's diameter increases in tiny, measured increments. A final wrap of polyester cotton yarn seals the structure, adding one last touch of resilience and protecting the wool beneath. Machine counters track every revolution, while operators step in to recalibrate tension or replace a spool before the slightest variation can throw off the process. Each finished core is checked for roundness and spring, squeezed by hand, weighed again, and set aside only if it meets every specification. This is the moment where the ball's character is set, a blend of mechanical precision and human oversight that locks in the shape and feel for the games ahead. From here, the process moves to the hands of artisans whose craft defines the soul of every baseball. 2 figure-8 panels of cowhide, softened and checked for perfect grain, are laid over the wound core. Laser-guided cutters slice each panel to identical shape, but no machine can replace the judgment of a senior stitcher. These masters, often with decades at the table, align the leather by touch and memory, matching grain direction so seams will sit just right. The needlework begins. Each ball receives exactly 108 stitches, always in red, always in the same looping pattern. The thread is pulled through pre-punched holes, but the real challenge is maintaining tension. Tight enough to hold the leather flush, loose enough to avoid warping the ball. Experienced stitchers monitor this by feel, adjusting with each pass, their fingers moving in a rhythm developed over years. A torque gauge sits nearby, used periodically to check stitch tension in new apprentices, but veterans rarely need it. Their muscle memory is the true measure. 10 to 15 minutes pass for every ball. In that time, a worker might recall the first World Series ball they ever sewed, or quietly coach a neighbor through a tricky seam. The work is demanding, repetitive, precise, and hard on the hands. Yet pride runs deep. In Costa Rica's main factory, the most respected stitchers are local celebrities, their speed and accuracy unmatched. For all the automation in the factory, this stage remains stubbornly, beautifully human. When the last stitch is set, the ball is checked for evenness and symmetry, then set aside for the next phase, ready to be tested, measured, and judged worthy of the game. Every finished baseball faces a battery of tests before it can be called game ready. Inspectors begin by weighing each ball on calibrated digital scales, confirming it falls within the razor-thin margin of 5 to 5.25 ounces. Next, a steel measuring ring checks the circumference, no more than 9.25 inches, no less than 9. Any ball that misses these marks is immediately pulled from the batch. Seam height gauges, some accurate to 1/1000th of an inch, measure the stitches, since even a subtle variation can alter the ball's flight. Compression rigs fireballs against hard plates to evaluate rebound, while rolling machines test for perfect roundness and surface tension. Inspectors scrutinize seams for symmetry, searching for any sign of uneven stitching or hidden flaws. If a ball fails any step, it's rejected, sent for disassembly, or, in rare cases, destroyed. Only the flawless survive this gauntlet, ready for the next stage. Rawlings's Turrialba facility in Costa Rica stands at the heart of Major League Baseball's supply chain, producing close to 1 million official balls every year, each destined for a stadium, a practice field, or a collector's shelf. Around the world, factories in China and Southeast Asia push the total to hundreds of millions annually, meeting demand for every level of play. To protect the game's integrity, MLB uses a hologram serial system on every game ball, logging each one in a digital database. This allows authenticators to track a ball's journey from factory floor to final pitch, deterring a thriving counterfeit market that targets collectors and fans. Meanwhile, research teams in the US and Japan are testing machine-stitched prototypes and eco-friendly materials, searching for a future where tradition meets sustainability. For now, though, the hand-stitched ball remains king, its journey from factory to field as carefully guarded as the game itself. Each year, Major League Baseball alone orders around 1 million baseballs, all built to exacting standards. 5 to 5.25 ounces in weight, 9 to 9.25 inches in circumference, using over 121 yards of wool yarn and 108 red stitches per ball. Decades of industrial evolution have shifted factories across borders, yet the craft of hand stitching remains essential. Despite rigorous quality control and Major League Baseball's authentication program, counterfeit baseballs and production failures continue to challenge the industry. Some details, such as the precise seam height tolerances and specific sourcing contracts, remain undisclosed. Today, new technologies like machine-stitched prototypes and eco-friendly materials are tested, but none have replaced the traditional process for official play. The journey from raw materials in the Midwest to a finished ball in a Costa Rican factory shows that every pitch in the modern game still depends on human skill and relentless precision. Billions of baseballs power the sport, but each one is the result of careful hands and constant scrutiny.